That car is the car that I drove. That is the car that we drove with Hayley Atwell in there. I can't believe that it's at the bottom of these steps. We were doing donuts and the tires were on fire, smoking, not on fire, they were smoking. It's really amazing to be here. It took a lot to be able to film here during that time period. Amazing what the country did, what Rome did, what Venice did, and to be able to finally be here at this moment where we're sharing it with everyone it's quite a privilege. It's quite a privilege. Look, this is a city of cinema. You know, I mean, the films that I grew up with, watching, you know, of Italian cinema, and to be able to take these cars and create action and develop character. You know, the character of Hayley Atwell, Grace, really inspired the tone that we are allowed to have through Rome. And I've always wanted to film in Venice, and McHugh and I had talked about it for many, many years. So to be able to go from Rome to Venice, you know, you'll see it. And they're both different tones and represent a different emotional aspect of this picture. There's plenty of excitement, plenty of action, and very vivid characters, and a global cinema experience for audiences that really need to be seen on the big screen. You know, I know there's other ways to see it, but this film was really made from top to bottom, from every single location, from the characters, from the scale of the film, the mix that we have, the music in the film. It is an immersive experience for an audience.
So many good and intense memories of filming here in Rome. We have this yellow car behind us, which we nicknamed Trixie because she had a mind of her own. And so to spend 5 months learning how to drift with Trixie whilst both Tom and I were handcuffed to each other meant that by the time we got out to Rome, we had a good chance that we weren't going to harm the city, the streets, the fountains, the stairs, other people. And so the fact that we've come back here with the city intact and also thriving is such it feels bittersweet. It has been relentless and intense in the most life-affirming way. It's both McHugh and Tom have this symbiotic relationship whereby they are bouncing ideas off each other all the time. So you can walk onto set on any given day and a script change will happen, or they'll throw out a new bit of dialogue, and they're encouraging you to come, as the actor, to come up with ideas. And so it's very much a collaborative back and forth process. And I knew going into it that if I surrendered to that process, then I was going to have the most extraordinary ride and surprise myself with what I could do. I think what amazes me about him is his dedication to always try something else, try something new, get better. As soon as one film is over, he's like, okay, yeah, great, I'm pleased that worked out, I'm glad it was all for the audience, great, and he's moved on to the next thing. He's very good at letting it go so he can actually focus on, okay, what is the thing that I don't know how to do, that I think would be impossible for me to do? How would I go about with all the steps in place to make sure that I can find a way to fulfill that ambition? And I think it's his attitude more than anything else that I'm most impressed about, as in his consistency to always develop. From genre to tone, to the characters' arcs, to the visual spectacle of it. It's a film that we haven't seen anything of this nature ever before. It pushes the envelope technologically. Everything, we're doing in this movie is all for the sake of delighting the audience. And I think it will delight, it will excite. You'll wake up the next morning with an emotional hangover from it. Make sure you sleep well and you're hydrated.
Tom and McQuarrie can't bring anything but a sense of adventure, because you're either jumping off something, something will be explosive, it's either real life, it's a weekend race, or it's actually shooting. So nothing is mediocre in this world. The prep is intense. We train, we do martial arts, I did sword fighting. You have to be prepared for everything in these movies, and that's also one of the reasons why I love making them. If you like Mission Impossible, it's another Mission Impossible movie and you will enjoy it. We will not disappoint. It is bigger, it is grander, it's more explosive. It's Tom Cruise on a motorbike off a cliff and 4 fantastic women and more. I mean, go and see it.
Oh God, I mean, it's the scale, I think. The first movie I was doing, I just wrapped the first season of The Crown. And it had epic scale, of course, because of the royal family and the palaces and the sets, but it was still kind of, a small English theatre contingent. And then I stepped off that set, flew to Paris, landed and was straight in with Tom in this huge movie set with so many crew and stunts, and I was doing my first stunt, and it was overwhelming at that time, but such an amazing initiation into filmmaking. And when you're around someone like Tom, who's such a cinephile and who loves what he does so much, it is life-changing, really. Oh, just because they believe in that's what, filmmaking is. And I think they want to take the audience on an adventure. And when you have that in mind, you have to go, okay, it's not just for us, it's for everybody. So how can we make people feel immersed in almost as if they're on that motorbike, almost as if they're jumping off that cliff themselves. And then you feel it with them rather than sort of watching someone do something impressive. And I think that's the power. On Faller, I did 6 months of training. And you're required to do that, to kind of go on the mission initiation of training, because you have to have a relationship with your body so that, Tom is the best runner in the world, for example. And so suddenly if you're asked to run next to him, which I was in the first Fallout, you can't be flagging behind like I was at sports day at school, You have to really step up and be ready. So that's, the physicality of it is also a very beautiful gift, because you kind of have to learn about your physicality, and that's something that I didn't have before. It's not an action movie to me. It's got drama, it's comedy, it's a thriller, it's kind of sci-fi. It's kind of, I said to Tom after, it's almost like a genre of its own, And that's such a beautiful, radical thing to do with a film that traditionally is seen as, it's just an action movie, but it's so not. I know that anybody that watches that will feel that, and that's really exciting. At the beginning it did, but now I'm so used to him going beyond what I could ever imagine, I stop even imagining what he might be doing. And then you see him do it, and it always goes further than you imagine, so it's kind of best not to even think about it and just to watch him in awe.
Oh, whenever I get the call to make these films, or I see Tom again, I know that I'm going to have an adventure. I don't know what adventure the shape it's going to take, but I know it's going to be incredible. And as this one was like that times a million. It was crazy. One of the great traditions of mission is the globe-trotting kind of like country-to-country spy mission. That was what I think attracted Tom to the idea of Mission Impossible in the first place. We make a lot of calls, there's a lot of diplomacy, a lot of talking to various, municipal figures. Can we please do this? Can we please do that? Can we lock that street right on that river? And a lot of the time, if Tom makes the call, they say yes. Because I would. He asked to land a helicopter in my garden, I said yes. Of course I'm going to. We all train hard, we always usually have to learn a new skill set. I had to learn to drive a boat in Venice, there's very narrow canals. I've had to learn to drive a speedboat, to scuba dive, all this kind of stuff. You always know you're going to take on a new skill set, because Tom wants us to be the ones doing the thing that we're doing. If the actor's doing it, the actor can act while it's happening. If the stunt professional takes over, you only get the stunt, you don't get the acting. And I think Tom appreciates the value of that. I think just the sheer visceral thrill of the film, it's such a propulsive, relentlessly paced, exciting movie. It's everything you want a cinematic blockbuster to be, but it's underpinned by genuine kind of like emotion and characters that you can invest yourself in, and it means something when those big stunts happen because you care about the people involved. Whatever Tom did, it wouldn't surprise me, because I know he will put his mind to anything, so if he does go into space, I'm not going to be surprised, because that's, of course, it's Tom,
This is, I think, a pinnacle. The franchise is one of the top, if not the top, action franchise, movie franchise. To be involved in such a, significant role as the main villain is a highlight, if not the highlight of my career.
That was great.
And it just makes me feel like I did the right thing by taking a chance on this career. Whereas a kid from the Bronx, with my background, there weren't many opportunities. So to be here, to be working with one of the greatest movie stars, if not, I don't know who else has done what he's done for 4 decades. It has been not only an honor, but a real learning experience. And I hope to get a chance to do it more or again in my life. They're going to be surprised at how a story can be twisted again and again. How many surprises, how shocking it can be, and how funny. There's so many moments in there that I unexpected humor, but good humor. Like, I was a fan of the series as a child, a couple of years ago. But it's amazing what Tom has done. Tom Cruise, in case you don't realize. What he's done, when you watch the first one and see how he's evolved, how much more refined and lethal and just purposeful his work is.
Oh my god, it was a dream come true. It was one of my dreams to be part of Mission Impossible. And actually I started training, learning martial arts and fight training and stunts years ago with a martial artist called Jason Noviello. And I would even write in my schedule, in my phone, sometimes I would write Mission Impossible instead of training to kind of like manifesting. And here we are. I saw the first movie when I think I was maybe 11 in French. I saw it on a tiny TV that was barely working. It was black and white, but I loved it. I was blown away by the action and by the story, and yeah. There is the biggest stunt in movie history, so that's pretty incredible. And the movie by itself, it's not even the biggest thing in the movie. Everything is incredible. I saw the movie 2 days ago. I was just blown away. For a few minutes after I watched the movie, I couldn't even talk. I was just processing the movie. I can't wait to watch it again with an audience.
It is so phenomenal. I mean, we love Italy, we love Rome, and shooting here was such a dream and a real challenge. But more than anything, we were here during the pandemic, and to see the city back to life and to see everybody out on the streets, it's just it's very emotional. It's very emotional. We shot here in Rome, we shot in Venice, in Norway, and the United Kingdom, and in Abu Dhabi. They all did. I mean, everything that we do in these movies is informed by the location. I go to the places first and write what the location is telling me it wants to be. So when I came to Rome, I had no preconceived notions of what it would be, and I just let the city tell me what kind of sequence it wanted. It all starts with character and story. You as much as the stunts are there and as big as they get, it doesn't mean anything if you're not invested in the characters and the story, and that's what we keep going back to again and again and again. When in doubt, character. I couldn't begin to pick a favorite one. I mean, they're all different, they're all unique, all challenging in their own way. There's a submarine sequence, a desert sequence. There is a car chase in Rome, a foot chase in Venice, and a massive train sequence in the third act of the movie. There's something for everybody. Seeing it on the biggest screen possible, and really it's having a shared experience with an audience. That's really what we're all about. That's what we're trying to preserve.